Hi, here's Michael Leander. I am so excited to be talking about yet another expert from the data-driven marketing and marketing automation space. This time I'm with Greg is his English name. He can introduce his Polish name in a moment, but he is one of the leading experts in the marketing automation and data-driven marketing field in Europe and perhaps even the world. And he is the head of a very successful technology company out of Krakow in Poland. But Greg, why don't you tell people a little bit more about you?
Hi, my real Polish name is Grzegorz, and the surname is Błażewicz. I have the pleasure and the great excitement, of being founder and currently CEO of SalesManago, which is currently one of the largest marketing automation platforms in the world. We believe we somehow struggling to become the leader in Europe. Well, that's it. I've been in marketing for almost 20 years right now. And before setting up this company, I was working in the largest Central European corporations, mostly in marketing teams, and being very close to marketing. And well, the origin of actually making marketing software is directly related to the previous experiences.
Oh, that's excellent. So you have a practical background for doing what you're doing now.
Yes, I've been during all my life in this corporate jobs. I was always very well acquainted with the problems the marketing teams have in organizations, and well, the idea was actually to address those problems within my own company, which happily turned out to be actually quite successful, right?
Oh, that's excellent. So let's talk a little bit about marketing automation in general, and let's talk about this from a European perspective. So first and foremost, where do you see the market right now in terms of maturity if you're looking at businesses across the board, B2B, B2C, and anything else?
Well, there are two aspects of what we are basically talking about when having in mind marketing automation in Europe. First is the fact that the market is not very well penetrated. So the whole thing, like marketing technology, marketing automation especially, is quite new for most of the marketers in Europe. So what we are basically doing here in Central Europe and in the European Union countries is all our job is not about competing with other companies. It's all about building the market. Okay, so and actually making marketing teams aware of what the real possibilities are waiting for them when they actually start to think about data, managing this data, linking marketing teams with sales departments and so on. So we do a lot of work in terms of educating the market and making people actually aware of what the possibilities are. And the second thing that is that makes the European marketing automation market different from the US market is that, okay, taking into consideration the low penetration, the companies here would not actually use marketing automation software the same way as they do in the States, because of course we've had a lot of change in terms of internet access penetration, the way people buy, and there's all kinds of consumer behavior shifts. So what we've seen, what we observe here is that the traditional marketing automation as used in the B2B context in the States in Europe is mostly about B2C. Okay, so if you look at the marketing automation software in the States, it would be mostly addressed to B2B segment, and then marketing automation is understood as a B2B software. In Europe, where the number of people that actually they stop buying offline and they start buying online, the number of such people is growing dynamically, and because of this growth and this consumer shift from offline to online, and I'm not talking just about, I'm talking specifically about end customers. This is the area where marketers face really most of their challenges. Okay, so in marketing automation, when we started doing our software and doing our business, we were confident that we're actually, and that was like the first 2-3 months when we were building our software, we thought that our customers would be just the same B2B companies. But what happened is that the first group of customers turn out to be online stores, because in Central Europe, I think that the marketers are far more educated and much more prepared for the digital kind of revolution if they work in B2C and online stores, and B2B sales is very much based on relationships. And when we talk to marketers in B2B companies, they don't really feel that sales departments need their support. It is completely different when you look at B2C companies and when you look at online stores, where marketing itself, without actually linking this department to like sales team, becomes a crucial part of the business. And this is the group of companies that actually turned out to be the first customers, and they understood the digital aspects of marketing. Well, what happened is that those customers hugely influence the way actually our platform is built, because doing marketing automation for B2B is much more different than doing marketing automation for B2C. And it starts both when you look at the number of data the companies, even small companies, B2C companies, small online stores, collect huge amounts of data. So, managing those data would not be possible with the standard B2B systems, where when you have a large number of customers, the system becomes quite pricey. So we had to master the managing of huge amounts of data at relatively lower cost to make the software available for online stores where the profit margins are a bit lower, and maybe there is a large number of online stores. That's the one thing. And the second thing is that the way the marketing automation processes are organized in B2C companies is far more complex than in B2B, where marketing automation can be just put down to simple kind of scoring, lead nurturing, and sending alerts to sales teams. In B2C, marketing automation becomes a completely different kind of science with a lot of possibilities, like in the multi-channel sphere, and a lot of touch points where the customers appear, and those customers also, well, and the fact that the marketing automation software is different, and marketing automation is different in B2B and in B2C, is also mostly based on actually the way customers behave. Okay, there's the range of possible behaviors in B2C is just like it's far more different than the behaviors in people buying in the B2B area. Okay, so that's the one thing. And then Well, the sad thing about marketing automation, and maybe the sad thing and an interesting thing, is that I think that marketing technology is always kind of a bit behind actually the customer behavior. Those customer behaviors, they change much faster than technology. So technology needs to follow actually how the customers are behaving. And just to give you an example of that is that marketing automation, the first companies making marketing automation, they would tell a lot of stories about this consumer shift, about the fact that the companies are losing control of the customer because they move from offline to online. And then you have marketing automation, which is coping with this problem. And when we marketers and the companies providing marketing technology, we started to cope with that and manage this problem, cope with that problem. We see another consumer shift, and that right now is the shift from desktop to mobile. Okay, and then the moment you actually make some kind of you made professional your current process, suddenly you have another consumer shift, and then you another time you have to look for new software. So we are actually here at SalesManago lucky because we still consider, even despite of the fact that we are employing 130 people all over the world, we still consider ourselves as a startup, and we have very, very dynamic IT technology capabilities. And so what we've done this year is completely new kind of software for mobile marketing automation, and we managed to link all those systems. But the adoption of this mobile marketing automation technology is really, really low right now. People just need to understand completely new range of processes, new ways of building this trigger-based marketing, campaigns. And again, traditional marketing automation, now it becomes completely different from the mobile marketing from the mobile marketing automation. You just need to deploy completely different way of thinking about your customer, because suddenly you have a possibility of making marketing automation processes to the device, which is the mobile phone, which becomes far more, is much more personal. And then from what we are seeing with our customers is that when marketers start to basically use mobile as another marketing channel, the work of marketers becomes very, very risky. And the reason is that, and the reason for that is that the marketers have just one, maybe two chances to appear here before they get opt out. And it's completely different on desktop. So, the door for mobile is open, but it closes very, it closes, this door on mobile closes very quickly if marketers don't take into consideration, how sensitive data they get here, how sensitive, communication becomes on the mobile. Okay, so that, of course, as I said, for marketing technology companies, this constant consumer shifts are both challenge and a big problem, because as I said, it's difficult to, you need to actually educate the marketers and work with marketers on something new all the time. It's not like, you know, ERP or, you know, financial accounting systems or CRM, where the core functionality becomes, you know, stable over long period of time. When it comes to marketing technology, it's a very, very dynamic process, and I think that it's not that obvious for marketers, and then to see, you know, how big challenge it is to work in this really like fast developing, fast changing marketing you know, environment, right?
But if we look at the various application areas, which areas do you believe are reasons for investing in marketing automation or lifecycle management within B2C? But what are the main reasons people are investing right now?
Well, the main reason the companies are investing in marketing automation is about, it's not about just gathering data. You know, gathering data is pretty well understood. Marketing automation is mostly deployed to increase or keep the conversion rates, which are falling because normally, if they do the marketing in a traditional way, operating on, you know, larger databases without personalization, they see that the conversion rates are basically falling. So marketing automation becomes a way to keep the conversion rates and make them higher, due to the possibility of actually addressing each customer, its potential customer, with very individual offer, which is delivered in the proper, you know, in the proper time. I would say that the keeping conversion and making the marketing very individual for each customer is the biggest driver for deploying marketing automation.
And what are the main obstacles as you see it now? I'm understanding that you're specifically addressing B2C and in particular e-commerce.
Yeah.
You also mentioned smaller e-commerce websites.
Yeah.
What are the main challenges that these customers that you have now? What were their concerns? Is it the skills of the people employed? Is it data? Is it if they're able to provide content and relevant content on an ongoing basis? What kind of concerns do they have?
Well, content, in comparison with the challenges in B2B, content within B2C is not a huge deal, because the content is basically the offer the online stores have, you know, in their XML files, and that's easy. Well, the problem is that the smaller, especially the smaller companies, which are growing very fast, they are very impatient, and they would like to have everything, you know, configured, you know, in first 2 months, and it's not that simple. So I think that the biggest challenge is that actually the pace that the companies may implement advanced marketing automation processes at their online stores. This is I think the huge problem. The expectations of those people are really high, you know, which is not the same in the big companies, because you know, in the big companies you have a, you know, huge process, and if they have, you know, implemented marketing automation software in 1 year, that's pretty fine. At the online store, where they are day-to-day, struggling on day-to-day basis with their customers' profit margins. You know, the dynamics of implementation is really well, of sort of crucial importance, and this is why what we have in our own customer onboarding process is that we always give the customer free support from our marketing automation specialist to make everything, you know, happen on the customer side just right after they sign the license agreement. Okay, so that's we do a lot of work to help people to help those customers actually start effectively using the software. This is also connected with well, our business model, because we have when customers sign agreements with us, these are like 1 month notice agreements. So those online stores, they see that we take on ourselves a lot of risk, because it's customer. If you look at the customer acquisition cost and then the implementation cost, and when you compare that with the fact that the customer may just live from month on month to month basis, so you can see that we really take a lot of risk on our side, and it's actually our job in the beginning to make sure that all the processes are working and that they are bringing some kind of ROI for the customer. And if this is not happening, so the customers, they are just leaving. Okay, that's the
So what you're saying, if I understand it correct, you're saying that you said that content isn't an issue. I disagree completely if you look at efficiency, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
Yeah.
I think it's a balance between value-adding content and offer-driven content for most industries. But like I said, it's a different ballgame. But you said that speed is essential, that your customers, in particular the smaller ones, they have huge expectations as to how quickly they can benefit from implementation, right?
Yeah.
And what other, if you were to mention one other thing that you see as a challenge, is there anything on the skill set in terms of these folks knowing what to do and what not to do in order to get quicker return? Or does it have to do with the data? Is it about languages, localization, customization? What do you see?
Well, I think that the main problem is that each marketing automation software is quite unique. So even if those customers they have seen some kind of marketing technology, each time and another technology turns out to be completely different in terms how it is constructed, how it looks, what the basic rules of actually operating the software. So that's the huge challenge. And again, it's far more different from like ERP or CRM software, because what you get there is just pretty straightforward. So if you worked on one CRM, you would probably be quite easy working on another CRM. And in marketing automation, it's just completely like different things. So they have to all the time they have to learn a new thing, and that's the problem. That's the main problem. I think that the another problem is I think that the fact how marketers are imagining what kind of marketing automation processes should look like. It's also I think they just understand. In most of the cases, they pretty well understand. They understand it pretty well. But then becomes this kind of configuration of this process, and then again, just because of technology and it's not automatic, and nothing is automatic in marketing automation. I think it's the holy grail of all marketing automation platforms, to build such a software that you just press green button and everything starts working. It's not the way it actually is, And then the problem is that so far marketers which were using, if you look at what kind of tools marketers would use before marketing automation, those tools would be very, very simple. It's like about, I don't know, organic search monitoring, some Google Analytics, or some social media analysis, whatever. And suddenly you get a huge, huge engines where, there are a lot of, possibilities. I think that that some marketers just don't like that. They would expect something very simple. So and I have a lot of conversations like that with marketers across Europe, and so they ask me why it's so difficult, why it's so complicated, why you have to think so much about it. And so what I'm saying to them is that, hey guys, if you want to be as important in your company as your finance department, you should actually tackle also very sophisticated software, just as they do in the finance department, where they actually work with really advanced, kind of pieces of software. Okay, so and being a accountant and being able to issue invoices and so on, it requires a lot of your knowledge about the software. So what I'm saying, if marketing team wants to be as important as finance department or other departments, they should actually also be capable of dealing with some specific, advanced processes built on very advanced software. Okay.
It's interesting what you're saying. If I can just share with you that in the past 4 or 5 months, I've done either keynote speeches or master classes for retailers in many different continents. And I've spoken to some of these CEOs and CMOs about this particular customer lifecycle marketing management. And of course, all of them are very concerned now about what's going on in store, and they're talking about beacon and they're talking about all of this stuff. But it seems to me there's a huge disconnect, because you're saying on one hand that marketers know what this is about. On the other hand, you're saying, if I understand this correctly, that they're surprised they have to think a lot about how to do this. And the third thing I'm experiencing, that CEOs and CMOs have some sense of urgency, yet when you actually talk to, I won't mention names here, but you talk to very well-known international brands in retail, for example, who have significant presence online in terms of e-commerce as well, who are not yet applying these principles. So I'm asking, what's actually going on? Because on one hand, you have technologies like SalesManago, who is able to help these marketers, and on the other hand, they're talking about it, but nothing is happening. And if you look at the consumer side, and you look at relevance of communication, it sucks, is pretty much what consumers are saying, right?
Yeah.
Because the relevancy, the personalization and customization, and the timing that you spoke about before, the only ones who seem to be attempting it, that I know of, seems to be coming from hospitality, travel, airliners, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they get it wrong more often than they get it right, right? In other words, you get wrong offers and the frequency and so on. So what is going on, and how do you see 2016 play out? Is it a case of needing some more proof of concept?
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of proof of concept on marketing automation side, and I think that there are some processes which are extremely effective. I'm talking about this dynamic emails, product recommendations, on the on-site. This we have, like, each customer would on our in terms of, when you look at SalesManago, each customer would be perfect example to build a case study on how dynamic emails work.
Can you just hold on, Greg? Can you just, for those who don't know, can you just explain what is a dynamic email?
Right. So dynamic email for us is an email which is sent after the customer's visit to your website, which has not ended in a conversion. And this email contains various types of product recommendations based on what the customer clicked on your online store, saw on your online store, or you may also add some very advanced recommendations based on product, on the purchase history and so on. Right. So there are some, and the same with these recommendations on the website. This proved to be extremely effective. Also, like maybe some methods of converting anonymous traffic on your website with some personalized pop-ups. There are. I would give like 5. I would limit that to a list, like 4 or 5 extremely effective methods, which, if implemented, they should bring the ROI on marketing automation investment. Okay, but when you look at but still, marketer is never satisfied with what they have, and there's like huge industry telling marketers that the new things are appearing, and this is the story with iBeacons, for example. So everybody is talking about iBeacons, but and we have integrations, and everybody is asking about that, but the but I actually have never seen a solid case study from the implementation of iBeacons. Okay, so that and the investment in iBeacons can be really huge. Okay, so I think that there's like there are two kind of different worlds of one world of something very, very concrete, very predictable, and this would be the standard, maybe not very creative, but still very well working, methods. And on the other side, you have the huge amount of new possibilities which appear, and it's beacons, it's mobile, it's some LCD, and there are a lot of things which seem to be very like sexy, but nobody knows whether it works, and whether it's worth spending a lot of money on on the implementation of these new channels and methods. Okay, so that's the problem. Okay.
No, it's a very, very interesting area. So just have a couple of questions for you to sort of round up. So you mentioned there are 4 or 5 areas that you see as quick win for someone investing, for example, in a solution from SalesManago. And you mentioned that you're able to personalize pop-ups, for example, so you're collecting data, behavioral data, and then based on that, you're able to target information, timing, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And how are you managing that in terms of this whole, some would like to call it omni-channel perspective, others would like to call it multi-channel. How do you know about preferences? How do you know about which channels seem to work better than others in terms of getting that conversion?
Well, honestly speaking, Mike, I think that, I don't like this talking about this multi-channel, omni-channel. To be completely honest, I don't know what's the difference, between multi-channel. I have no fucking idea, what's the difference between multi-channel and omni-channel. Now you have all marketers are calling themselves, growth hackers. They are doing, the same job they were doing, 10 years ago. Now everybody is a growth hacker. So, I think that, it's a kind of semantic area I don't want to go into, so what we are focusing, and we're focusing on very simple numbers. Okay, that if I don't know a CEO of a big company that would tell you the difference between multi-channel, omni-channel, or they would tell you about what's inbound marketing. I don't know a managing director of a serious company that would actually care about that. So what we are focusing is not about talking about multi-channel and so on. What we're focusing is on actually helping marketers show a very simple numbers. Okay, and so the number, if you're talking about this personalized forms to convert anonymous traffic, so what we do is that we show the number of contact forms they were getting filled in 1 month before implementation of SalesManago, and what numbers we are generating after the implementation of some very simple dynamic pop-ups, where we use a lot of behavioral data. The same with leads, which are passed to sales teams. So we really, where our story, I'm trying to actually to avoid talking about multi-channel, omni-channel. We really try to speak about very simple benefits that they can get by using this kind of software, our competition software. It's I think it may be very, very simple, and this philosophical talks about multi-channel, omni-channel, well, we'll leave that for conferences and great speakers.
As somebody who's always been channel agnostic, I think it's hilarious. That's why I was laughing out loud before, because I think sometimes our industry really has a huge problem in that people, which means the consulting companies, they think we have to reinvent ourselves and our terminology every so often. And often it doesn't make sense, like with omnichannel, multi-channel. But I want to ask you another thing, because the integration of data seems to be an issue for many businesses, and you have the likes of Adobe, SAP, IBM, and others now coming into the same space or they may not be coming in, they are in the same space, competing for the same customers as you are, with SAP having the advantage of that very tight integration into anything related to product and pricing and currencies and so on in the ERP part of their solution spectrum. How do you see all of this play out when it comes to actually collecting all of this data, managing all of this data, and that integration to ERP and other systems for a vendor like you compared to those large multinational players?
Well, of course, those large multinational players, they work with large multinational players. Okay, so it's not basically our competition. What we do is that we very often integrate with IBM, with SAP. We integrate with their data warehouses to actually use them in marketing automation processes run from SalesManago. So that's I would not see this as like a challenge for us. We rather try to work with them. Well, in terms of collecting data, I think that it still becomes a lot of it's a challenge, and it's a I think huge trend right now to actually start collecting those data, which are in most of the cases they are dispersed in various places in the company. So it's not about SAP, it's not about the ERP, it's also about some logistics systems, some various. We have just an example. We have a huge one of the European retailers in the cosmetics area, and I was like very surprised because about each customer they keep the data in like 5 different systems. Okay, and the challenge is actually, it's not about just data from ERP. It turns out that in the process of building the company, one on another company, in various departments, they just build completely separate kind of silos of data, and I think that integrating those data in one place is the major, I'd say, objective for companies, for a lot of companies right now. Okay.
Yeah, and probably also building profiles, right, and understanding how to build a profile, what type of techniques to use when you build those profiles in order to make the data as actionable as possible. I think, is that what you're seeing as well?
Yes, definitely. Which data is important, which is not important, then how to use those data to and how to analyze those data to make some to build some ideas for new marketing automation processes. So this is I think one of the very important, I would say, very important part of marketing automation world, which I'm observing right now. The first thing I learned about marketing automation was that it's building a process and optimizing this process. But the question is how to build this process, how to imagine this process. So based on what you were saying before, aggregating this data is the first step to actually, and becomes the basis, and analysis of this data is the first basis to actually think of effective marketing automation processes. So you map the processes on things that you become aware of after data analysis. That's the story. So it's not about like some just blind looking for some processes. It's right now with the huge pools of data that the companies possess, it's about analyzing this data, imagining so finding some patterns, and then you being aware of what kind of patterns you observe, then you map the marketing automation process on that, and then you optimize.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's just on a final note here. I think before we point people to a lot of the resources that I know you have on your website, but what I'm seeing in conferences, talking to vendors and so on, they tend to make it this very big thing, right? And we can all say all those big words and make everything sound very fancy, but I think you nailed it there. It's really about understanding, in this case, what your client will benefit from in the short term while helping them create the structure that is required. Take one example I'm sure you're aware of, that 40 to 60% of email subscribers have been inactive for the past 6 months or more, right? In other words, people sending emails out don't know that between 40 to 60% of those subscribers are actually not even interacting with the email at all.
Yeah.
Very likely never see the email. But most people don't know that. And a simple thing like a scoring model that you're familiar with from B2B, for example, I know for a fact, working with clients in the B2C arena, it actually helps. Because if you have a score, you're able to group people. And if you haven't collected all of the other data that is required to know, if you look at the RFM model or other models, right? Mm-hmm. Then at least you have the scoring model, and you can do the very simple, which is if they have a high score, they're probably pretty interested or pretty loyal or pretty, whatever. And if they have no score and have maintained that for a longer period of time, they're probably not even there anymore. They may be dead, et cetera, et cetera. So finding those entry points for B2C e-commerce companies, I think, is a very, very good example. Mm-hmm. So tell me, where can people learn more about SalesManago and find some of the resources that I know you have on your website?
I would be very, I'd like to address what you said before, because we've made some very, very interesting, analysis. Just a short point.
Right.
If you do your email marketing in a traditional way by sending like email blasts, we have our analysis of the customers that are doing like that. It turns out that 25% of their databases are dying in the period of 8 months. Okay, so the database is dying by 25%
each 8 months.
Yeah, so it becomes, and the number that we are having is not that it's 40 or 60% that is not active in the last 6 months. It's much higher.
I was being nice.
Yeah. So what we have seen quite. Just an interesting thing to tell you. We've seen a few new businesses, new online businesses that build their marketing in a completely different way than from the traditional business, from the traditional like businesses, or the businesses that would have a few years, that would have been a few years on the market. So they completely avoid this mass marketing because they don't wanna have their customers to die out right after they sign up for the newsletter. Okay? Right. And they just refrain from sending email blasts, and everything on all the channels is one-to-one, and they get really perfect result. But it requires a lot of courage actually to do business marketing, to do marketing like that, because everybody thinks that it's better to send to his 1 million database than actually send much less emails, but very well tailored to each customer. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. You may find more information on about our product. We have a lot of ebooks which you can then download on how marketing automation works. A lot of case studies. We have a great blog, and you will find everything on our website, which is www.salesmanago.com.
Excellent, and we'll also post some links somewhere here. If you see this video on markedu.com, pt.dk, or michaelleander.me or somewhere else, we'll try to put some of these links to some of the ebooks. And so thank you for watching. Make sure you check out SalesManago. They have an English website as well as a website in other languages, and they serve actually clients, is my understanding, all over the world, but are currently very focused on the European market. So thank you again for watching, and have a great day today and all the other days.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for it was a great pleasure to talking to you, and wish everybody Happy New Year.
Happy New Year every year. Okay. Thank you, Greg. We'll be in touch.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.